Welcome to Unmasking Humanity 21 Questions with JoshuaTBerglan. I'm your host, Joshua. Thank you all so much for being here today. We are broadcasting on the World's Mayor Experience platform where you can find all kinds of variety of broadcasts, tons of educational content that will get you prepared for the fourth industrial revolution and so much more. Go check it out. You can see it at JoshuaTBerglan.com. Today is going to be awesome. I've been following this person on LinkedIn now for several months and I've just been watching the work her and her husband are doing. They are true trailblazers, visionaries, and they're just doing some extraordinary things in the world of renewable energy. And so you guys are in for a treat. You're going to learn a lot. I'm going to learn a lot. But let me tell you about our guest before we bring her on. Araminta Edmondson-Bennett is a visionary leader serving as co-founder and director of R2 Energy. Araminta's expertise has driven the pioneering of the world's first road-based energy harvesting solutions for net zero emissions. This is really cool. Armed with a background in business management, marketing, and PR support services, Araminta is fueled by a profound passion for sustainability and innovation. With a track record of building and managing businesses from inception, Araminta has steered award-winning projects across the Middle East and Europe, collaborating with diverse public and private sector stakeholders. Her strengths lie in analytical thinking, team building, and effective management, consistently delivering quality and transparent outcomes. And while all that sounds professional and awesome, and it is, because she is absolutely a professional at what she does and a true pioneer, as I said, she's also just freaking cool. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my new friend, Araminta, to Unmasking Humanity 21 Questions with JoshuaTBerglan. And we're back to Unmasking Humanity 21 Questions with JoshuaTBerglan, and I am so freaking giddy about our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Araminta to Unmasking Humanity. Araminta, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. We've had a few cancellations, but it's only built up my anticipation. And the more I've learned about what you're doing, I'm so excited for the world. You're going to be able to change so many lives with what you're doing, and the impact that you're going to make is extraordinary. But before we get into all of that, I would love to know, what are you grateful for today and why?
Well, today's actually our second youngest son's birthday, so I'm grateful for the children today. And to be here, of course.
Thank you for that. How old is your son?
He's 4.
How old?
4.
Oh, I was already a troublemaker at the age of 4, so I pray that your path is smoother than my mother was.
Well, we have 3 boys, so yeah, it's all within a year of each other. 2 5-year-olds and a 3-year and a 4-year-old now. So yeah, they have a lot of fun.
That's testosterone in the house. My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun! All right. Well, are you ready for your 21 questions?
There I am.
Okay. I need some theme music for the 21 questions. I gotta remember that. Okay. All right. Number 1. This is a softball, easy one for you. If you could harvest energy from any unexpected source, what would it be and why?
Well, I believe you can harvest energy from anything because everything around us is energy anyway. It's just that we haven't figured out how to do that yet. We're looking at now harvesting energy from humans and from cattle and from all kinds of incredible life sources. So I believe that it can be done. It's just all around us.
It's interesting that you say that. Do you want to take a deeper dive in explaining how they're going to harvest energy from humans in a way that most people don't know actually happens?
Well, for us, PaveGen, there is a company out there, PaveGen, that harvests energy from footsteps as it is through FISO technology. So we'd be looking at a kinetic version of that, where the compression of the footsteps creates energy.
So freaking cool. The future is just such a trip. I mean, I think I'm tech savvy and like I'm in tune with all the things that are happening, and then I hear that and I'm like, mind blown. All right. Question 2. What's the most creative analogy you've used to explain road-based energy harvesting to a non-expert?
That we're at the forefront of a revolution, and that we're holding an energy paradigm at the moment, and then we jump into how we actually harvest the energy.
Very good. Question 3. If R2 Energy were a superhero, what would its superpower be?
Saving the planet from energy poverty, of course.
That's a perfect answer. You're like the queen of the one-line perfect answer. I love it. Very good. Number 4. This is good. Number 4. What's the most surprising lesson your background in PR has taught you about the green tech innovation?
Well, I think that there's so many new technologies that are coming out all the time, and that it's realizing that we're never going to meet the legislation put forward for net zero, any of these things, without a proper energy mix. So it's getting to work together with all the different renewable energies, which before were working solely by themselves. We've looked at microgrids and other things, but to be able to utilize all these new technologies and work together, we actually have a shot at making things work by the 2030 goal, I guess.
Do you think this can be done? The manufacturing of all of these different all the resources that are needed to be able to power the renewable energy. Do you think it's possible to do all this without using child slaves?
Not without funding, and not without using a mix of energy and looking at all these new technologies that are coming forward. Otherwise, we just don't stand a chance. Fossil fuels will be very difficult to move away from otherwise, for sure.
That's it. I'm glad that you said that. That's really interesting. And I also appreciate the fact that there's a little bit of not a little bit, but there's some sanity attached to your even though you're a forward thinker with the renewable energy, the fact you have a realistic outlook. And that's important because we have too many people promoting unrealistic things, and
Yes,
that's going to hurt the movement more than help it.
yeah, for us, our whole goal is social impact as well, and actually making a difference for energy poverty worldwide. And if we look at it just as a renewable, it's not achievable at this stage anyway, in the very near future. No.
Thank you for a very common sense answer to that most people would not say. Well, I mean, especially because your livelihood is dependent on
yes, no,
funding and investing of this, and yet you're being honest. And that, to me, if I was an investor, would make me want to invest in you more, because you're being honest about it. Because nothing's going to stop this movement except itself.
No,
like it
yeah,
can shoot itself in the foot before it gets too far ahead.
yeah.
Excellent. Number 5, if you could instantly implement one sustainable practice worldwide, what would it be?
It's actually to do with the food, because a lot of the food in our supermarkets either are sell by date and are actually edible, and they just go. I think that they should be given to people who really need them, and if not, then the animals. We actually have kind of a circular economy at home where we have quite a few farm animals that are pets, so we don't eat them; they're not for meat. But we don't have any real waste at home now. We have pigs, we have sheep, we have alpacas, goats, chickens.
Oh, how
fun. Ducks. But yeah, we have no waste practically at home, food waste. So dogs.
I don't know what the statistics are, but I know one of the biggest problems in the United States is the amount of food we waste. And mind you, we have some garbage food here with some of the chemicals and stuff that's put in it. I wasn't aware that that was an issue in the UK also.
Well, I think a lot go for, we're doing a lot better with food banks in the UK, but the amount of people that are using them is astronomical. I mean, we never heard of them when we were little. Now everywhere has food banks. So we obviously have a big issue with food as well at the moment.
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully good change is on the way. Number 6, what's the most unusual collaboration you've encountered in the sustainability sector?
That's a tricky one. I mean, we collaborate with so many amazing people at the moment. So actually, I'd say that it's unusual. We didn't imagine that coming in as a new player that we'd be able to collaborate with such amazing companies, big names, big players, and to be so welcome into those groups. It's been fantastic. It's actually been such a big push for our company as well. So we've been really fortunate with that so many companies are so collaborative, going forward in 2024.
Can I ask you something? This is not on my list of questions, but I'm curious about it. I know that you work in the Middle East quite a bit and throughout Europe, but in the Middle East specifically, how has that demographic responded to you being a blonde-haired, white woman? Yeah, I know you're from the UK, but
I lived for
different
15
feel,
years.
right? Are you looked at differently? Are you treated differently? Or what kind of things have you had to navigate that might surprise people?
Well, I lived 15 years in the UAE and traveled all over the GCC. I think there's a big misconception that women are made to cover up and stay home or line up in a separate queue at the bank, but I always found it extremely respectful. It felt like they were trying to push women to the forefront, if you like, and I loved it, and I think I have a lot of respect for the way that they do treat women there. You never felt unsafe going out the house, actually, as what I would do in London on the subway. So yeah, I have a different perspective, I guess, of that. I know it definitely taught me a lot about culture as well, and I met loads of amazing people. I'm still friends with most of them from that period in my life. So yeah.
And so I've heard the same thing, but then from people that have actually lived there, been there, traveled there, and I only hear great stories, but then through the media, you hear something completely different. So I appreciate you answering that question the way that you did, because I was going to be disappointed if you said something different, but
no, I always felt safe, and I think it's a very respectful country and region, really.
Very cool, very cool. Number 7, if you had to compare the current state of green tech to a type of weather, what would it be and why?
Windy. We're not there yet. We aren't there yet. And there isn't enough wind and there isn't enough sun to drive what we're doing at the moment. So hopefully we'll get to where we have more sunny days, I guess. With a good energy mix is what I believe we need. It's not raining because we've made such progress with renewables, but even all these new EV cars will need charging and batteries, and they're made from fossil fuels and everything else. To get to that point, we're not anywhere near where we need to be renewably to sustain it.
It's always nice to hear. I've interviewed other people in this space before, but there's always an agenda attached to it because they're trying to sell.
Yes.
And you're just a breath of fresh air because you're just sitting here being honest. Like, look, we're not ready yet.
Thank you.
Yes, we need the investments, and yes, we're moving forward, but we aren't ready yet. So
yeah,
I love the honesty. I appreciate it. Number 8. What's the most exciting potential application of road-based energy harvesting that people might not have considered?
Well, smart cities, really, because the systems as they are now that we're producing have so much potential with AI, which is integrated into it. which can work as three places around the city, not only just power a smart city, they should be able to talk to each other. So if the telecoms or something like that goes down, there should be an app where you'd be able to even communicate, not only just have energy, but you'll be able to have communication device. It'll help with planning for city planning. It'll help reduce costs for so many, not just homeowners, but businesses and the real people who are on the street, and increase safety as well. So it's really exciting time for road-based energy for sure.
That I like that, because you brought up smart cities, and that's something, an area of focus for me. And people there's extreme views of it, of smart cities. There's an extreme fear about them, as they're going to enslave us. We're going to have to take a chip, and then there's going to be no crime. Like this is going to be safe. There's going to be, there's pros and cons to both, at least that are presented, or the people that have taken the time to learn about them. From your perspective, what's the healthiest way to view the incoming smart cities that are going to be all over the world?
I'd say that we're quite a long way off still. I'd say that each little bit of technology that comes in, a bit at a time, and anything that's, I don't think anything should be pushed on to anybody. I'm quite a big believer that our system, if it's implemented into a city environment like that, there's a real reason for it, and a real good, because it is to reduce the cost of energy that the people who are living there should get the benefit from. That's the whole reason we're doing this, is to try and help real people, not just big corporations, not just make lots of money from energy. We're actually trying to make an impact to the individual people there.
It makes it so much easier to root for you too. But that what's your favorite fun fact that might surprise people about energy harvesting? Like, what's something about it that would shock people?
It's actually a few years ago, we were in talks, when we first started looking at this innovation, to a company in the US who had dairy farms, and that's how we found out about the cows. And we did a case study on this, because they walk something like 500 cows 3 times a day to go and get milked in a long line. And I said, well, of course, we did all the figures, did a case study, and you can create energy just from these guys doing that. They don't need to eat more food, so you're not actually creating any resistance to the cow. But it's just amazing that even these animals could generate their own, sustain themselves, and still have quite a good opportunity to be even more useful, if you like.
That's interesting. That just opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It would reduce costs as well for the farms. It would bring down the cost. This is a huge thing for us with distributors. So if we can actually reduce costs then the cost of your food and all the things that have gone so high at the moment, they should be able to impact that and amount for the consumers, I guess.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Number 11. If you had to explain R2 Energy's mission to a 7-year-old, how would you do it?
Well, actually, we actually work in partnership with a few schools, one in Dubai, and 2 in the northeast of England, who are actually putting this towards the students. So I can come back to you on that, as to how to get children involved in our mission, to be interested in what we do, and how it could impact the future with children between the age of 6 and 12. So I'll let you know.
Okay.
Got an exciting competition going on. No, we really want to get the young people involved in this and interested in the technology, because as we're looking for the future, the more that we can do and get their input on will make a huge difference to their future as well.
Yeah, and they should have a say in their future, unlike us. I don't feel like we had much of a say growing up. We were told to shut up and do what we were told, or at least I remember it anyway. But I don't think that has worked for us. Like, now is the time to start listening to youth. And like, I know that the youth we shouldn't listen to them about everything, but their input matters. They should have a voice. This is their future. How do you fight for someone's future without bringing the people you're fighting for into the conversation? You don't say, hey, stay over there while I fight for what you want.
Yeah.
You don't even know what I want. You know, I know what's best for you. I know what's best for you. You shut up.
No, that is what it used to be like, though, wasn't it? Yeah. So now, it's actually we did a big campaign on how to get youngsters actually interested in learning about this as well, how to hook them. And there's a lot from TikTok and all these different opportunities which can relate to them, but it seems like through school and the education, these competitions are actually working, and there's some great ideas that come out of those little schools even.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm glad that you said that. All right, number 12. What's the most unexpected skill you found useful in your role as a green tech innovator?
I'd say mediation and understanding people. I think that I feel like I've learned that I read people quite well and can manage situations personably better than our founder, who's a male. I don't know if that's he's my husband.
I was about to say, isn't he your husband?
I don't know if that's because I'm female and we didn't know that I had that skill, but it's been identified in our management meetings altogether. So
I won't tell me you said that. All right. Number 13. If you could instantly solve one challenge in sustainable energy with a magic wand, what would it be?
It'd be bring all the other innovations to the forefront and to work together for an energy mix, for sure.
That's a good answer. You want to? Do you have anything to add? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. No, that's
good. It was a simple, perfect answer. Number 14. What's the most creative use of harvested energy you've seen or imagined?
It's hard to say. I know of one, but I'm under NDA, mutual NDA for it. So how about our technology? I think that our technology is game changing, and it is going to make such an impact in lives.
I agree. Well, I agree with that. You should be promoting your own. You should promote your own invention. It is awesome. I was shocked and blown away by it.
I know of one great one, but
promoted.
No, ours is fantastic too. I mean, I just think it's a no-brainer, really, to capture this type of energy, because it's unutilized and it all goes to waste otherwise. So yeah, it's definitely something that has the potential to make a big impact in the world right now.
Lovely answer. Number 15. If you had to compare building a business to a natural process, what would it be and why?
So it's like building a marriage. Hard work. You need to be consistent, you need to show up every day, and you need to just stay true to the original vision, really. Learn, adapt, but be true to that.
This has turned into a relationship advice a relationship advice show, ladies and gentlemen. Please pay attention. That's good. I'm a firm believer. If you go into a relationship with somebody where your vision's aligned, you are ahead of the game. Because if your vision's aligned and you have a big vision to focus on, the small petty crap just doesn't have the same stick that it does in other relationships.
No, true. I add children to your life, and then you've had the full learning, full training ground, should we say. I've got 5 children at home. And they've prepared me for a lot of scenarios that you wouldn't expect, but that have been so useful in building a business. Patience. It
is a virtue. It is a virtue. Very good. Number 16. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from a setback in your career?
I think they're sent to test you and they make you stronger. They can realign your vision. We actually had a company that went into administration, and it felt like the end of the world for quite some time. And now everything happens to challenge you, I guess, and to make you refocus what you're actually doing and why you're doing it. So I think that, embrace those setbacks and keep pushing forward if you believe that, your vision is worth believing in. Nobody's there to tell you no. These are thrown at you only as much as, God will only give you what you can handle.
I love that you said that statement, because it's so much of it's like people say the truth will set you free. There's so many layers to that statement, because it's not just setting yourself free. Your truth will set other people free. And to what you just said, like it's such an important statement, because even the things that we want in life, if we are not prepared for it, we're going to squander it. Like when I first came into money the first time, I wasn't ready to receive all that. I was the a-hole with money. I did all the bad things with it. I wasn't a good steward. I wasn't ready. And guess what? I lost it all because of that. So this is why I believe trusting the process and the timing of how things work out matter, because you've learned from your mistakes and now you're ready to take it on. So that statement works both ways. I really love that you said that.
Thank you.
All right. Number 17. If R2's energy journey was a book, what would its title be?
The Road to Energy.
Is there a double meaning there by chance?
It is, because we use the roads at the moment to generate the energy. But,
that was not what I was thinking. Never
it's a long road.
Okay. Number 18. What's the most interesting question you've been asked about your work and sustainability?
I think I've been asked quite a few interesting questions today, probably the most interesting that we've ever been asked.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. We haven't had so much fun talking about renewable energy for a long time. It's a sales pitch, but no, this has been lots of fun.
I have to work so hard to make, I spend a lot of time on the questions, and some subjects are not interesting to talk about when you get asked for the textbook. So I try to have fun with it, because people need to learn about this stuff. And if they're not motivated or excited to, they're not going to learn. And the only way they're going to learn about it is if there's something that's interesting about it. So the fact that you're answering the questions the way you are, I think you're making this interesting for a public. I mean, for people that don't care and do care.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because the renewable energy isn't accessible if you're not. A lot of people feel like it's a green lobbyist sort of environment as well that's being pushed on them. But I guess what we're trying to move away from, and what we like to say, is our background was actually oil and gas. We didn't do this initially because of the Green Initiative. We were lucky that the tide has changed. Our entire process has been to ensure cheap and accessible energy for all. That was our initial mission and what we've ran with. So I think that sometimes you get bogged down in a lot of this jargon, and it's all very energy focused on sustainability and our ESG goals and how that impacts businesses, but it's not very accessible to the individual. It doesn't show how that's going to actually, we're going to spend millions on all this infrastructure for energy that may or may not be able to sustain us. Isn't really something that many people are willing to listen to, and it's not real either. I think that's quite. I mean, this has been so much fun already.
Well, and to your point too, like I don't know how much I really got into renewable energy because I was looking at it like, well, screw the government. I don't trust anything they say. I didn't trust them. I didn't trust them 10 years ago. I definitely didn't trust them in the last 4 years. I don't trust anything they say. But the big but in all of this is,
picture.
if I think about the refugees and I think about places in the global south that don't have electricity, I think about all of the broadcasts I do with people in Africa who don't have internet all the time, who don't have electricity, who don't have enough electricity to even power a light bulb long enough to do a broadcast, much less do work, do school work, or anything else. And so when I think about those renewable energy devices that are being created that are all in one, that are self-contained, self-supporting, and they work. And so that is a solution that can save the lives, not save the lives as in a hypothetical, no, really realistically save their lives, help them get clean water, help them get clean food, help them have electricity, help them be able to cook and stuff we take for granted.
Absolutely. Well, actually, our actual vision was born from Africa and South America, which have so many cars on the road, so many vehicles, so much pollution, and the grid goes down consistently. They're so reliant on fossil fuel generators. It just pumps more junk into an already very overpopulated area, and then to be without basic necessities in this day and age is unacceptable, especially if there is another way. It's just,
it's so good. I love your passion for this, and I love your passion for people too, which is, by the way, not just being exposed in this interview. I have this from months of following you, seeing what you're all about, and like I'm a fan. So I'm really
I'm a fan of yours too.
Thank you. I honestly, like, I had my expectations so high for this, and so usually when that happens, it can be a letdown. But like, you're really exceeding my expectations, so I love it. Number 19. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice when starting R2 Energy, what would it be?
Trust the process, like I did before. Be sure, because I doubted, even right at the very beginning, even though we knew why, still there's a lot of doubt there. Trust the process and why you're doing this.
Yeah, the why matters. The why is enough to keep you going for sure.
Yeah.
I bet, the why will get you through heartbreak. It'll get you through deaths. It'll get you through sickness. It'll get you through disabilities. If your why is big enough, it will pull you out of the depths of hell to continue doing what you were created to do. So that's such a good answer. Okay. Number 20. Oh my gosh, there's only 2 left. This went by way fast. What's the most exciting potential synergy between road-based energy harvesting and another industry that people might not have considered? So let me re-ask that. What's the most exciting potential synergy between road-based energy harvesting and another industry that people might not have considered?
Ports are one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. They have such a huge carbon footprint, and the amount of energy that they require to power themselves is incredible, and they can't do that without a really good mix. And usually ports are not very welcoming to new initiatives and things that are just up and coming, because they have they have a real reliance on the power, shore power, everything else. But they're actually really forward thinking at the moment with we're doing a trial in DP World, which is a huge port. They do a lot with the new wave technologies, and it's really exciting time. And for a sector that has such a huge footprint, doing such big things is really exciting.
Very cool. Last question. I may have to mourn now. I even asked you more than 21 questions, and this went by. Golly. Okay. If you sorry. I'm gonna have a hard time getting this one out of today. Okay, hold on. All right. If you had to write a fortune cookie message about the future of green tech, what would it say?
Hang in there, it's coming.
That does sound like a fortune cookie.
In there, it's coming. No, I think that the future is bright, but to be realistic, and don't go switching off your other sources of heat and electric and everything else, just transferring to green, because everyone's still just learning. And we've got a lot of countries and a lot of people that all require power. So the worst thing would be is for everyone to transition very quickly into something that can't sustain everybody.
I should just title this broadcast Common Sense, because I just love I can't say it enough, because you've had every opportunity to like pitch and sell yourself, and you're just common sense. It's like you have a practical approach at this. And like I'm like a little kid. I get excited about everything. So like, oh, the future, new technology. Hey, you don't want to go there now. Is it 2030 yet? Take me there.
There's some really exciting stuff coming forth, and our system should be able to make such an impact in so many lives. But I am a realist as well.
I love it. I appreciate it. All right, so you've survived 21 questions. Congratulations. You did it with style and grace and flair and everything else. It was wonderful. All right, so I would like to give you the opportunity to plug, which I don't know if plug means the same thing to you as it does me in America, but plug means promote. Anything you want to promote. And if there's anything on your heart that you want to share, the floor is yours. You get the last word.
Well, actually, our website is going live. It should go live by the end of this week. So we are www.r-2e.com, and it's definitely worth checking it out, because it is energy, it's accessible, it gives real life information that's relatable to human beings, not just renewable energy professionals. So I hope you guys will check it out. I'll send you the link as it goes live.
It'll be in the show notes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on, but you have to have the last word, though.
Okay. Okay. Thank you ever so much.